Paramahamsa Parivrakacharya Sotara Sutachi Shimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandakoti Vaishnava Vindi Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premisagaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gita Govindana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Ki Jai. Yamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 18, text 3. Ushrija Sarvata Sangam Viganta Jitta Sangstitihi Vayas Sakir Jahal Shishyo Gangayam Swam Kalevaram. Someone could chant. Mataji's. Word for word. Usrija, after leaving aside. Sarvataha, all around. Sangam, association. Vigata, being understood. Ajita, one who is never conquered. The personality of Godhead. Samstitihi, actual position. Vyasaki, under the sun of Vyas. Jahau, give up. Sisyaha, as a disciple. Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges. Swam, his own. Kalevaram, material body. Translation. Furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyas, Sukadeva Goswami. Thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead, and at last he gave up his material body on the bank of the Ganges. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Purport. The word Ajita is significant here. The personality of God as Sri Krishna is known as Ajita, or unconquerable, and he is so in every respect. No one can know his actual position. He is unconquerable by knowledge also. We have heard about his dham or place, eternal Goloka Vrindavan, but there are many scholars who interpret his abode in different ways. But by the grace of a spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami, unto whom the king gave himself up as a most humble disciple, one is able to understand the actual position of the Lord, his eternal abode, and his transcendental paraphernalia in that dham or abode. Knowing the transcendental position of the Lord and the transcendental method by which one can approach that transcendental dham, the king was confident about his ultimate destination, and by knowing this, he could leave aside everything material, even his own body, without any difficulty of attachment. In the Bhagavad Gita it is stated, Param Drishtva Nivartate. One can give up all material attachment when one is able to see the Param, or the superior quality of things. From the Bhagavad Gita we understand the quality of the Lord's energy that is superior to the material energy. And by the grace of a bona fide spiritual master like Sukadeva Goswami, it is quite possible to know everything of the superior energy of the Lord, by which the Lord manifests his eternal name, qualities, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. Unless one thoroughly understands this superior or internal energy of the Lord, it is not possible to realize the material energy. It is not possible to leave the material energy. However, one may theoretically speculate on the true nature of the absolute truth. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit was able to receive the mercy of such a personality as Sukadeva Goswami, and thus he was able to know the actual position of the unconquerable Lord. It is very difficult to find the Lord from the Vedic literatures, but it is very easy to know him by the mercy of a liberated devotee like Sukadeva Goswami. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharne Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Raskacha Deshadarne. So here it is stated that unless one thoroughly understands the superior energy of the Lord, it is not possible to get out of the clutches of Maya. It's not simply a matter of speculation, but one needs the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master. So there's the material, the superior energy, and the material energy, or the external energy, the internal and the external. So the superior energy consists of the spiritual world and also the living entities, which are known also as the marginal energy of the Lord, because we have a tendency to go either way, either to the spiritual or the material. So the reason why we are known as the superior energy is because we have all the qualities of the Supreme Lord, but in minute quantity. So in this way, we are known as the superior energy of the Lord. And one of those qualities that we have is we have the particle of independence. So as we know that Krishna has full independence, but we also have partial independence because we're part and parcel of Him. Just like the example is given of this ocean and a drop of water from the ocean. The drop of water contains all the qualities of the ocean, but in minute quantity. And similarly, the example is given of the gold and the gold mine. So the gold mine is very vast, but the gold ring also has all the qualities of the gold, but in minute quantity. So in this way, we have a small portion of independence. And this is our natural position. It is something that cannot be separated from us. Some people say that why is there so much suffering in this world? Why does God let us do all these things? It's because of our misuse of our independence. We misuse our independence and therefore we are suffering. We're not a dead stone. We have desires. We could choose what we want to choose. As Krishna told Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, now I have instructed you this imperishable science of yoga. Now do what you want to do. So we could do whatever we want to do. This is the meaning of individuality. And this individuality is always present within us. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So this is always with us. It's not that, as the impersonalists say, the mental speculators say, that we were part of Brahman and then we fell into the material world and we accepted individuality, and then when we attain perfection we merge into Krishna. We lose our individuality. No, we always, as Krishna says, we always have individuality. He has individuality, we have individuality, all the kings have individuality. This will always remain. Merging, for a devotee, merging means to merge in the service of Krishna, to agree to accept his instructions. Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me, I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction, do not fear. So by agreeing to accept his instruction, then this way, that's considered merging. Not losing our individuality, but agreeing to accept his instruction. So we are always individuals, we will always remain individuals. Krishna doesn't want to force us. He wants our love and he wants our devotion. If I force you, then that is not love. Just like I say, you love me or I'll shoot you. No, that's not love. That's craziness. So in here, it's mentioned about mental speculation. We can't simply understand Krishna through reading Vedic literature. It's not as simply a matter of jnana or knowledge, but it means vijnana or applied knowledge. So by applying knowledge means we accept a bona fide spiritual master. We understand we understand Krishna by accepting a spiritual master. As Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, verse 34, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So by approaching a spiritual master, not only are we reading Vedic literature, but we accept the instructions of Vedic literature, and that one of those instructions is approaching a spiritual master, and he'll give us further instructions. So the spiritual master is mentioned. He gives us, Krishna instructs us within the heart, and he's also instructs us through the spiritual master. And so in this way, by hearing from the spiritual master, one can advance in spiritual life. As is stated in the Upanishads, one who has full faith in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the spiritual master, the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. So the disciple, when he hears the instructions of the spiritual master, he should accept them without hesitation. And as Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions, that the instructions of the spiritual master are considered the life and soul of the disciple. So this mental speculation is very destructive in spiritual life. So much so that Srila Prabhupada he mentions various things about it, but one of the things he mentions is this is part of the 4 regulated principles. No gambling or mental speculation. So sometimes during the initiation ceremony, devotees would say, give the 4 regulated principles, and they would also say no gambling or mental speculation. And in various letters, Prabhupada also mentioned that these are regulated principles. No mental speculation, no gambling or mental speculation. This mental speculation, you cannot understand things because outside this universe it's beyond our conception. It's simply by mental speculation is simply fruitless. It's like it's beyond our conception. So the only way we can understand is through the process of hearing. It's not simply a matter of mental speculation, ascending knowledge, but by hearing from the disciple succession can we actually attain real knowledge. And we have to accept that knowledge as it is. Like Srila Prabhupada, he presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, because so many editions of Bhagavad Gita were there. Even in this country, for 200 years, there were so many Bhagavad Gitas. People had access to the Bhagavad Gita, but there was not a devotee made from those Bhagavad Gitas, because the real meaning of the Bhagavad Gita was interpreted or perverted to suit the opinions of the translator or the whoever presented the book. So Vedic knowledge has to be understood as it is. Just like the sun, we can see the sun very nicely, but if we think in order to see the sun, we have to see it with a lamp or a flashlight. That's ridiculous. No, we just simply see it as it is. And sometimes people cover over the real meaning of the sun. Just when Lord Chaitanya, he was hearing the Vedanta Sutta from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And after so many days, Lord Chaitanya was just hearing the Vedanta Sutta. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was wondering, Lord Chaitanya didn't say anything, so he was wondering if he actually was hearing. And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, I can understand Vedanta Sutta. Its meaning is very clear, but your explanation is covering it just like a cloud. So this is a position impersonalists, they simply want to cover Krishna with a cloud. They want to be the authority, and instead of accepting Bhagavad Gita as the authority, they want to become the authority themselves. So, religion without philosophy is mental speculation or sometimes fanaticism. And mental speculation, and by mental speculation, religion without philosophy is mental speculation or fanaticism, and mental speculation without religion is, a philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So by mental speculation, one cannot understand religion or self-realization. So in order to understand things beyond this material world, we have to hear from the disciplic succession, not simply by mental speculation or the Vedic literatures. And we have to understand things in total, not simply half-hint logic. Just like the half-hint logic is, I like this part, I don't like that part. So somebody may say, I like the chicken because it gives eggs, but I don't like feeding the chicken. So let me cut off the head of the chicken, and I'll simply get the eggs. But one won't get the result. One will lose the profit. So one has to accept everything, all the instructions given by the spiritual master, all the instructions given by the Krishna, and then one will be successful in spiritual life. So the spiritual master, he gives many instructions that we should hear and chant about Krishna. We should follow the regulative principles. We should preach Krishna consciousness throughout the world by engaging people in Krishna consciousness. This means by inviting them to the temple, having nice deity worship so they can see the deities, giving them books, going out and Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan, and by introducing a Vedic culture throughout the world. This is one of Srila Prabhupada's important programs in the Krishna conscious movement. So much so that he said that every center in the Krishna consciousness movement should have a Varnashram college. This should be established immediately. So he was very strong on this point. He said that whatever we are doing now is on a small scale, but if we want to introduce Krishna consciousness throughout the world, we have to introduce his Varnashrama, and by this, people will become happy. So how is this to be done? It seems like it's such a daunting task to introduce this Varnashrama. But Srila Prabhupada said that we simply have to show by example. For example is better than precept. Without an example, our precept has no value. Just like we may say that one should rise early in the morning and attend Mangal Artik. But if one does not attend Mangal Artik, what will be the result of saying, come to Mangal Artik? There will be no result. So we have to preach, and we have to show by our own example. So in terms of Varnashrama, example means we have to show by quality and by work. This is how we show. So a Brahmana, for example, he has the quality of a Brahmana. He is clean, truthful, austere, and he engages in the work of a Brahmana. The Brahmanas have different activities. They engage in deity worship. They teach others about deity worship. They learn Vedic knowledge. They teach Vedic knowledge. And they give in charity and they accept charity. So in this way, they engage in their qualities of work. So we have to show both things, not simply the qualities, but also the work. Although we should know that a devotee, as Vaishnavas, we are beyond these things. Just like Krishna, he was sometimes acting as a Vaishya in Vrindavan and sometimes as a Kshatriya. but he was neither of these things. So similarly, a devotee may act in a certain way just to lead the people on the right path. Because whatever, as a stated in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever great men do, common men follow in their footsteps. So even the Supreme Personality of God himself performs these activities. Just like in the Krishna book, after Lord Balaram killed Rohamashana Sutra, the sages told him that you are the Supreme Lord, this is quite good for you, but whatever great men do, common men follow. So in this way, they suggested that you should go and perform a penance for this activity of killing a brahmana like that. So he understood, yes, this was quite all right from me, but others may follow me. So in this way, he performed penance, and by that he traveled to various places of pilgrimage. So even the Supreme Lord performs such activities. So by showing by example, then the whole world could change. Srila Prabhupada mentions that if simply 1% of the people become great, if they become pure, then the whole situation of the world can change. So, for example, in the United States now there's around 330 million people. So if simply around 3 million people become devotees, then things can change in a dramatic way. So the spiritual masters give us instructions that we should reduce material activities and increase in our spiritual activities. So in the material world, materialistic people are simply engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So we have to reduce these things. And this is possible by, as is mentioned in the purport, reduce these things by experiencing a higher taste. One could give up inferior things by experiencing a higher taste. Just like Yamuna Acharya, before he was a great king and he was engaged in so much sensuous activities, but after he became Krishna conscious, he was able to give up everything and simply engage in devotional service. And he stated, because sometimes various thoughts would come to his mind in his material life, and he said, whenever I think of sex life, I simply spit at the thought and my face turns in disgust. So this is a devotee. He's able to do this, not artificially, but he sees the beauty of spiritual life, so much so that these other things are simply insignificant. Simply insignificant. So we have to give up give up material things, and this is possible by engaging in devotional service. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada wanted these temples to engage in devotional service, and by not engaging in devotional service, we become weak in spiritual life. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, he said that in every letter, and I'm always saying that we must chant at least 16 rounds a day. This is real Sankirtan. Sometimes devotees complain that, oh, Prabhupada, the leaders in our society, sometimes they engage in so much business or management. But Prabhupada mentioned that no, if they chant 16 rounds a day, then this is real Sankirtan. So there's different types of service. So as long as one follows the instructions of the spiritual master, then one will remain strong in spiritual life. But if one gives up the instructions of the spiritual master, then what can he do? Just like Srila Prabhupada mentioned that this illicit sex is a great poison that will destroy everything. But if they do not follow these instructions, then how can I help them? if they take a knife and they try to dry it off by their throat, then how could I save them? So we may cry that we are fallen, but the spiritual master says, take the rope, grab the rope and get out of the well. And this way you'll be saved. So we have to take this instruction of the spiritual master, and this way we'll be fixed up in spiritual life. So these instructions are there. Like Srila Prabhupada wanted us to come to the temple to hear and chant about Krishna. Like he emphasized, he wanted us to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, not simply once a day, but twice a day. Never did he emphasize, you simply come to Srimad Bhagavatam and that is sufficient. No, he said you should come to Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita also. He even wrote a letter to Rameshwar, who was in charge of the Sankirtan devotees, book distributors back in the 70s. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned, I heard that the devotees under your care are not coming back to the temple in the evening time for the Bhagavad Gita class. No, this is not good. They should come back. So we have to follow these instructions. We have to reduce our eating. As Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Path of Perfection, we have to reduce the eating, and we also should not eat at night. So we have to follow this, and we have to have good association. Srila Prabhupada mentions, and even himself, he said that he could have remained very comfortable in his family life, but in his old age he could remain very comfortable. But he said they were not devotees, therefore I left them. So anybody, whether they're family or anyone, if they're not devotees, we cannot stay in their association. Just like Maharaj Vibhishana, because his brother Ravana was not a devotee, therefore he left him. So Krishna is within our heart. He could see everything. He could see what we are thinking and our feelings. His eyes are not like our eyes. Our eyes can see only so far. I can't see beyond that wall. But Krishna could penetrate that wall, and he could see everything beyond it. So he could see within our heart. He could see what we are thinking. And not only can he see within our heart, but of course he's also situated within our heart. And this way he knows everything. So he'll give us whatever we want. If we want to be with him, he'll give us that opportunity. And if we want to forget him, he'll give us that opportunity. As it's stated in the Bhagavad Gita, for me become remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So if we want to remember Krishna, he'll help us. And if we want to forget Krishna, we could forget him forever. So that's our choice. That is our individuality. So I could stop there. Any questions or comments on these points? Yes, Nanda Kirtan.
Thank you very much. Just wondering, this last point you were saying that Prabhupada also wanted us to go to the Bhagavad Gita class also. So yeah, I've heard that before. There's a letter, it's in that book, Nectar of Book Distribution, and Prabhupada writes to a devotee saying that 1 hour in the morning class and 1 hour in the evening class, that's sufficient reading. And if devotees want to stay out the rest of the day distributing books, that's good. But then there's another statement where he says that he wants all his students to read all of his books. So if you're following the first instruction, it seems like there's no time to read anything else.
Well, I could give you an example. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam class. I mean, Srimad Bhagavatam class, we started around, 7:35, and let's say we're going to end in about, just saying, let's say 8:20, whatever. So that gives us an extra 15 minutes. It wasn't an hour. So that's an extra 15 minutes you can engage in reading. So I'm just giving you an example. So at least that amount. So at least that amount of time. So just by that in itself, if you just read a little bit every day, then it's just a matter of time before you'll be able to read through everything. Because as we know, Srila Prabhupada said it's important to read all the books. He said if we don't read all the, this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, then if you don't read all the books, after some time you simply eat, sleep, and fall down. So I took, myself personally, I took that as a very important instruction. And I remember when that came out, when the Chaitanya Charitamrita came out in the 70s, and I like to have like challenges, you know. So I told one devotee, Gadagaja, I said, Gadagaja, I bet I could, not that I would wager anything, but I said, I bet I could read all the books before you do. And he said, okay, you know. So at that point I started reading everything. Just, you know, I read the Gita, but I went through all the Bhagavatam, the CC, all the books like that. So in that way, because it's an important instruction, and that's, you know, if you don't hear, how could you purify your heart? So anyway, both things should be there. But it just, many times we see that, you know, I don't know what other temples are like, but here, let's say it's only 45 minutes for the Bhagavatam class and 45 minutes for the Gita class. So that's leaves you an extra half an hour, and if you just engage that extra half an hour in reading, then you'll be able to read so much like that. Yes?
Thank you very much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. So you were mentioning that one should not eat at night, but what if one comes back to the temple after a long day, Sankirtan, and he's feeling very hungry? What about this kind of devotee?
Well, my understanding also with not eating at night is one shouldn't eat very heavy at night. Like Prabhu would have at night, he would have like milk at night. He would take milk. I remember once Hari Sari gave me some of Prabhupada's milk. They made extra milk, and he gave me some of Prabhupada's milk. And I remember tasting it, it had sugar in it. I remember it had sugar in it. Not as sweet as our sugar upstairs, but we would always serve out milk upstairs where the gift shop is. That used to be the Brahmachari ashram. But, you know, we take milk at night, so a little something. But to eat heavy at night, you know, like eat sweets, you know, heavy sweets and grains and things, that should be avoided like that. The better to eat during the day and to avoid eating at night. Well, I can't really say. I mean, there's so many. Srila Prabhupada it's in the Path of Perfection. It comes from a lecture on the Bhagavad Gita lecture, and Prabhupada just mentions that. He said we should reduce our eating, and we should not eat at night, and that's as far as he went on that. So, I mean, there may be various, you know, Ayurvedic things about it, but that's good enough for me, you know, that the spiritual master says you shouldn't do this, so we should just do it. And that solves everything.
Can I speak,
Yeah.
comment on that? Is there a question before I give a comment? No, you have a question? You want to? Oh, okay. No problem. All right, my comment on that is that Prabhupada did give a reason. He may have, in conversations and often, and we may not know it because we may have forgotten it, we may have not gotten to it, read it, but eating at night has a disastrous effect upon the consciousness in the morning, you see, because it replays itself. The digestion is going on, and that process of digestion is taking a lot of energy from us. So when we want to get up at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, quite often if you eat a big meal, like you were saying at night, when you try to get up, you feel logy, you feel listless, you feel groggy, and you feel indifferent. Those are the feelings. I'm sure everybody here has experienced that if they have had a big feast just before going to sleep. So those are the feelings. Those are not good feelings. Those are not ideal feelings for attending a Bhagavatam class, because generally you go to sleep. or even if Mangalarti, you could be sitting on a chair and you fall asleep. So that does not give you the benefit that you naturally could have if you were alert and if you were clear and if your consciousness is fixed and firm on what is being given. In other words, you're getting a very small fraction of the benefit that could be gotten. That was the first thing. You want to add something to that?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. I saw you start to open your mouth, and out of respect, I thought you should. So the second thing I would like to mention is, first of all, I didn't even mention, I liked your class very much because you stuck to Srila Prabhupada's books. You didn't go off on left field or you go off in ninth heaven, but you stuck right there, and you didn't deviate, you didn't differ, and everything you said was in complete conformity to the words that Srila Prabhupada. And this is a good habit, by the way, for all of us, because it's not only the safest and the surest, but it's the best, because you're speaking the words of the spiritual master, and that's what Prabhupada wanted us to do. But he also wanted us to understand those words. So it's not only important to simply imitate or memorize, but he wants us to understand what we have memorized so that we can properly explain it and understand it ourselves and share it with others. This was the idea. He didn't want us to just be a parrot. So and sometimes devotees do that. They go off on so many verses, but they don't really understand it. So now the point I would like to make is that you spoke about speculation at the beginning. I would just like to add something to it, if I may. First of all, what is speculation, you see? You gave some nice examples of it, but what actually it is, what it basically is wanting to come up with your own understanding or your own idea or your own concoction of what the truth is, in spite of the fact that the scriptures have already stated what the truth is. And this is what we should be understanding, this is what we should be learning, and we shouldn't make up our own concoction, meaning, well, no, I think it should be this. This is speculation. No, I think that, because there's another way to think about that, and this is coming from a person who's not even have the slightest bit of self-realization. He's like a newcomer, and he's still telling everybody how they should be thinking. So this is what Prabhupada was very much against, and the whole Mayavad philosophy is nothing more than a speculation which was ordered by the Supreme Lord to Shankaracharya to create this philosophy, which was basically a philosophy of illusion. I don't know why the Lord ordered that. Maybe if you do know, please let us know. But he did order it, and Shankaracharya came up with it. I guess it's for people who really want to lord it over. So he gave them a philosophy. Same with the Buddhists. Basically, people want to feel that they're God. And they're feeling that I'm God. I can say, I can do, I can order, I can dictate, and this is so. This whole, this whole idea of the idea of speculation. It's a form of lordship. In other words, I don't accept your idea. I'm God. I'm the truth. I'm where it's at. People should listen to me. I dictate, and therefore I can come up with what I want. This is the insane idea behind this idea of speculation. It's a form of lordship, which is the very opposite of bhakti, which is, as you mentioned, surrender and submission to the Supreme Lord. It's not just blind or foolish submission, it's submission to a higher authority, which will enable us and guide us to the truth in such a way that we will come out peaceful, joyful, happy, fulfilled, and satisfied, as opposed to just doing what you only want, what you want to do. And it's like going to the forest or going to the jungle without any weapons and without any knowledge of what these tigers in there can do to you. It's the same thing. So what do those tigers do when they're hungry? Well, you know what they do. Yeah. Everybody knows. And that's right, you get eaten. So simply you can get eaten by the Mayavadi philosophy, and your whole life can be one big mess. Okay, that's my. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I think we should stop there. Jai, O glory, Shishishi, Guru, and Gauranga.
Jai.
like, for example, if you wanted to go, at least if you live in Temple, if you live on this block, these two